you're still favored over there, so that's still a series to come for Wales. So they would be in an amazing position if they could take that win streak away from GAM.
And importantly, if we're going to talk grand scope, if we're referring to like Team Wales, SPTC, and Saigon Buffalo, SPTC next week they play Saigon Buffalo, and then they also play Team Flash, and they play, I believe they play Box. So next week SPTC is very, very well slated for potential 3 wins. Then they finish out with GAM and Cerberus, which isn't great for SPTC, but next week they could take a very commanding lead. Wales doesn't have the easiest of schedules. They have Cerberus next week, and then they walk into the final week.
Wait.
What's up?
One short interruption because I just saw Cannon runes. He went for attack speed runes and Conqueror. Could this be split pushing AD Cannon?
I don't think it's AD Cannon, but it is almost certainly Riftmaker.
Yeah.
Almost certainly. There's almost no way it's not Riftmaker in this particular case. And I've actually seen Nasters with this build, which is kind of awesome, especially with the reworked Nasters. So that is it would be cool. It's a little callback to the old on-hit Kennen. Believe it or not, actually, it was Reckless got me playing Kennen because I saw him play it at ADC. And then I played it with like my friends a bunch, and they always harassed me for playing it. And then it got picked at Worlds, and then I felt a little bit redeemed because I was like, oh yeah, like obviously, like that's what happened. So I'm always down for the AD Kennen. It's probably not the case. It's just gonna be Riftmaker. It's not gonna be anything crazy like a Blade of the Rune King, or most likely it could be. Yeah, it could shock us here, but.
And we do have the famous couple of Xayah and Rakan broken up in this game. Who's going to get the better of the breakup? We're going to see that usually it's slightly Xayah favored in my opinion, because she doesn't really get that many buffs from Rakan, while Rakan gets the W buff from Xayah over there. Also, Zeri into Xayah is always a little bit of a struggle. Later on, she might, at level 6, she might have an opportunity to run Xayah down, but usually wave control is just always in favor of the Xayah. She has so many unbelievable wave control tools, so it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for the side of GAM's bot lane. For now, they're fine to just scale.
Yes. Is this an easy mid lane? Like, I feel like this is not a fun mid lane for Gragas. Gragas is relatively low range, and I know that he does have the Q to be able to harass with pretty effectively. And again, if you find little engages like this, then obviously you're be feeling good if you're Glory. But long term, like, is there really an opportunity for Gragas to do anything into the Vygar? Because you've got the cage, and you've got like all your wave clear. You're mostly sitting like set on just kind of sitting there doing nothing most of the laning phase anyway. Like, is Gragas the champion that punishes this?
Yeah, I feel like it's all about mind games. We just saw actually how Glory played the traits there, where it looked like he was going to go for an E, but then he didn't go for the E, and that forced the cage out of Kati. So it's all about using the 2 E abilities, the cage against the body slam, and whoever pulls the trigger first probably loses. The body slam flash could actually kind of circumvent that from happening, but I feel like I agree with you. The longer the game goes, the more tanky the Veigar especially gets, and the farther away he gets from getting one-shot, or the one-shot potential for Gragas being a possibility, the harder it's going to be for the Gragas to find anything meaningful in this mid lane matchup. I kind of expect him to just abandon mid lane at a certain point, just let Veigar farm his up and go maybe towards top lane, maybe towards bot lane. There's some targets you could look for.
Okay, so for a second there, I was wondering if there was going to be some shenanigans on the map, because GAM, or like Levi had matched the pathing of Killer Queen. They both ended up on top side, and Levi got the Scuttle Crab first. Now, actually, Killer Queen had push in mid and in bot, and so there's no shenanigans to be had. Instead, Levi just goes back to full farming the jungle, but does get a little bit of a clear speed kind of buff over top of Killer Queen, because he had to step into the bottom side to grab that Scuttle Crab up. And there's also going to be this bounce back of like mid wave should bounce back to the middle. You can see there's a bit of a stack coming through from Kati. Bottom wave, you're going to get a little bit of a shove as well. Should buy a back timer for them, so it's a little harder to gank if Killer Queen wanted to wrap there right now. So I'm looking at top lane and I'm like, hey, Kiaya, you got a Nocturne that's going to be sprinting up there faster than the Vi will, almost certainly. Let's make something happen. Like, let's see what we can do. Let's try to get this Cho'Gath punished, especially if the wave ends up getting shoved. Kiaya's got it in a perfect place right now for Levi to be able to punish in the right circumstance.
This is so scary for Naki, because not only is that a case, but Kiaya is also close to 6, so once that comes in, this Cho'Gath is not that tanky. Look at his HP bar. He needs some time to actually get some HP. At the moment, he's more of an AP carry, actually, so he needs to be super careful not to get caught by the cannon, and Kiaya now can establish a freeze that can last forever, because the Cho'Gath is one of the champions that kind of auto-pushes the wave all the time, right? Yeah. You can't really do anything else on the Cho'Gath. Every single skill you have is AoE. You can't really aim W or Q to just last it a single minion. So this Cho'Gath is going to be automatically pushing into Kiaya again, so it's all about wave control and how well Kiaya can set up his wave for success. He could really shut out Nagia from this game.
Okay, so the instant TP back to top lane alongside that the Leeching Leer, which is pretty cool. That means it is going to be the Rift Maker. That Levi is on top side, stealing some camps. It's a good ultimate to get out of the event horizon. Well played from Kadi to try to get away. Exhaust is going to go down. B is not going to be able to clean.
Oh!
Glory! What are we doing?
Glory missed!
And he misses by a mile. Not even close, baby. I think actually he could have popped it potentially and maybe done a little bit of damage, but not enough to kill Kadi. So he was trying to
No way.
Oh, he's underneath the tower. He's gonna get first blood. Gonna get feared to the event horizon. He's gonna give a kill over to Levi. Zin, don't you take that? Okay, where Zin was gonna try to grab it or something like that, but instead kill over to the Nocturne in exchange for first blood. Glory. That's some level of bloodthirst I don't think I've ever seen out of Glory before in my entire career.
That was crazy. I mean, he wanted to make up for his own mistake. He gets the first blood, so it's actually worth it. And I do have to flame Zin here, because Zin went there with his E just to get an assist.
Criminal.
But it was an assisted kill already. So the kill, the assist gold now was split between Veigar and Rakan. Instead of just going to Veigar alone, it's a very small interaction. But still, that was really unnecessary from Zin. He could have gotten the 150 gold over to his mid lane instead of stealing half of that away. The combo is really, really nice. I like this interaction. It's almost impossible for Kati to do anything. And then we avert our eyes here. Don't look at the screen.
It
just
absolutely,
wait a few seconds.
yeah,
just don't look.
Did.
Yeah, and now we can look again.
Did. Yes.
Because Laurie makes up.
Better.
He makes up for the mistake. It kind of just styles on Levi. Levi tried to bodyguard it. He just flashes right on top of Levi and gets the kill on Kati.
Yes. Now, there is the question of how valuable is this first blood on Gragas versus the kill that goes over to Nocturne immediately afterwards, which, when I'm counting those cards, I'm saying that the Nocturne kill probably ends up being more valuable than the kill that the Gragas got. But Glory actually, I thought, showed off quite a bit of expertise on this Gragas pick, only being able to get Kadi out of the event horizon without himself taking the stun, but then also afterwards being able to get around Levi and sneak in for that first blood. It showed that Gragas is definitely a potential point of mastery here for Glory as he's been working on the champion at least a little bit. So you can appreciate that maybe that level of expertise is going to come in. Gold is not crazy between the two either. That first blood gold ends up not meaning that much as they're down 300-400, but Glory is feeling fine in this position now. And
every time I look at top lane, it looks so doomed for Nagia, but I actually need to commend him, because look at his CS count. He is farming so well with his Qs and just staying on even CS against Kiaya, who's playing the wave, just trying to harass Nagia out of lane, but it's Cho'Gath. He gets so much sustain now, especially with his first step towards either... I mean, the Catalyst of Eons used to be called. I'm not actually sure what it's called now, but he could either go into AP route or he could just go early MR, build something something that helps him in the matchup against Kiaya. I'm not entirely sure where he's going to go. This is risky. Kiaya's pretty squishy. Let's go.
Okay, bit of a jump in. Now Levi's going to be able to help find a bunch of damage down. That event horizon was helpful for kind of sticking in. Now Kiaya on the other side is going to get traded off as the Gia is going to be able to get a nice stack on the Cho'Gath. There are enough reinforcements both sides. It looks like T Wales says, I don't think that we can actually take this. They're going to go back in now? Okay, they're going back in. They got some cooldowns back. Levi is level 7. Nagia is level 8. It's support and jungle versus jungle.
Levi doesn't have ultimate now.
That's a pretty big play. Levi has to flash, get out of the event horizon to make sure that he doesn't stun him up. As that's 3 members very low, but they are cleaning up effectively. Did they get anything else? Zin is able to help play one back.
Oh!
Wales
Wait, what?
makes it work. And now Rift Herald is potentially on the... Okay, yeah, not going to be stolen by Zin by any capacity whatsoever. Killer Queen able to clean that one up with the eye and the spite on the backside of that one. Team Wales coming out with a big win against GAM.
Yeah, coming to life and actually winning both objectives on both sides of the map. They started with the Dragon and now they get the Rift Herald too. This was so crazy from both sides. They focus the Gragas, who of course is very tanky, but they have so much CC between the 3 players that they do manage to one-shot the Gragas. On the other side though, I talked about Kiaya being squishy, and those 2 champions can make quick work of the cannon. He's not strong enough. He didn't flash even because he was silenced. And this is where it gets...
Why did they do this?
Yeah, this is where it gets really confusing, because Levi doesn't have his ultimate, so he's not actually that great of a champion, and it all looks so scattered, and
that's gorgeous.
It's very, very hard to say who's winning, but in the end, the Veigar's cooldowns in this game aren't short enough to really make it work. So in the end, Team Wales win on this side of the map too, and are off to a decent start.
And tons of props over to B, because B's exhaust, I think, did nuke a decent amount of the damage that Cotty was going to put out, because I think it was a Q and a W and the Primordial Burst that were all denied from Cotty at full damage because of the exhaust that got dropped by B. So that made a difference, almost certainly, inside of that fight, because there were 2 members that were low enough that, like, if the Primordial Burst had outright killed Killer Queen or something like that, maybe they turn that. Maybe they still are able to kind of take the support versus mid-fight. Maybe you've got enough damage to clean up 2 and maybe at least make it a 2 for 2. And instead, it probably would have reset the Rift Herald as well, unless B decided to stick around and kind of kill it himself. But honestly, it was super close. So again, B clutching up when the time comes to be able to be up here on the top side, roam support. And now Dragon, Rift Herald, second dragon of the game over to Wales as the topside dive comes in.
Oh, this is risky.
This
is so risky.
He's going to deny a little bit, and Glory's here to trade at least 1 back. Now he wants to try to get Kiaya. Kiaya is not taking tower aggro, however, and Glory fancies his chances inside the one-on-one. He's going to be able to get a Q, decent amount of damage. Stun comes up from Kiaya. He has Conqueror stack. You do have to be a little bit careful. He's going to keep running.
Okay, Glory.
He flashes. He's going to be able to keep going. He's going to find another
big
play. Kiaya.
Wait.
He's going to heal just enough. The stun comes through. Kiaya gets something else. He's not. He didn't have vision. He wasn't able to clean things up. And Glory finds a second kill. Now Cotty denies Killer Queen's ultimate. He's probably going to go down in the mid lane now, as that's going to be Killer Queen, who lost the ultimate. When he finds it, he gets the kill. Wales all day long.
Wales is coming to life. They're just outplaying GAM on map and in mechanics. Everything is going in Wales' way, and what an amazing performance from their top side. Not to flame their bot side or anything, their bot side is just not really participating in this game, but they are just finding the counter picks, and Glory, he knows the limits of Gragas so insanely well. This looked unbelievably risky from him. The Conqueror stack, as he pointed out in the play already, Kiaya, it does not look like a winning play to me for Glory. He flashes over the wall into Kiaya, and then this is also insanely close. Kiaya needs 1 more Q or auto attack. He tries to run away, but this time Glory makes sure the Q is gonna land.
And then right here, Cotty greets for the plate right there, and yes, denies Killer Queen's ultimate, does shut down that cooldown, but it's Vi, man. Like, you're not getting away. Although I do appreciate he was trying to make some sort of shiftiness happen. Probably should have just made it, but enough. What do you do? Like, what do you do? And Team Wales jumps up to a 500 gold lead, which is insane to think about, because in any other game, it feels like this advantage would probably have netted you 3k, and yet up against GAM, they're only up 500 gold, and the 2 dragons. You'll give them the 2 dragons too, which just speaks to the level that GAM is able to play at. You still have to keep this level of execution, but notice Abyssal Mask completed for Nagia. Yep. You've got Black Cleaver already done for Killer Queen. You've got Rod of Ages done for your Gragas. You're feeling great. I love the Abyssal Mask, by the way. I think it's a dramatically underrated item on every champion in the game, and it should be built more. So Nagia in this magic matchup in the top side where he's dealing a bunch of magic damage is going to feel great against the cannon.
Yeah, there's so much hidden magic damage as well, right? Not only is there Gragas to follow up the magic damage, the Cho deals magic with everything as well, so it's gonna amp his own damage, and then also, actually, the considerable damage of Blitzcrank. His ultimate is an AoE ability. You don't really think about it too much. Oh, Kiaya needs to be careful. I think he found the time to run away, though. So this is gonna amp all the damage of his teammates. I really like this first item as well. It makes it so much easier for him to play the laning phase as well. He's just scaling very happily in this game. Already got one extra stack from the kill on Kiaya early on. So he's at least looking at 7 stacks in the mid game, which is quite tanky already.
Yes. This is probably going to be first tower, though, which is a very strange fumble from the side of Team Wales that they are just giving this over to the Zeri, because Style should be perfectly fine. They're going to go for a counter dive. Nice ultimate from Kiaya, trying to keep this stunned up. That's a good silence, as B just gives a drive-by right there. And it's a kill with 4 members in exchange for a solo tower on bot side to the ADC. Wales, I've been your #1 fan here for a couple of minutes, loving the fact that you're beating GAM. That was not it, Chief. I'm sorry to say. Like, that was, and they're gonna get punished on the backside because everybody is back, which means that Glory's gonna be stuck on his lonesome. Zin is here with the Rakan to be able to
damage to kill him
up. He's dead. Yeah. Like, he just dies on the backside. So they trade no plates, just a little bit of top tower gold because the plates were already down, and a kill over for and a bottom tower solo gold into Style for 1 kill. Not worth.
And this now makes me really curious about the shot calling. I need someone to translate some comms, because I This was always what people associated with B, these kind of plays for GAM, where he showed up on the other side of the map and created advantages against the run of play. He was praised for being their shot caller last year by all the GAM members. Hanke sang his praises, but now GAM is still doing this without B against the B team, so he should be the first one to be aware of this. Now I'm getting really curious as to if it was really B calling those shots, or if it's more of a Levi Kiaya kind of thing. Of course, it's all conjecture. Don't take it too seriously, but I'm just really curious.
Okay, Style is gooning right now as he stepped up to try to hit some tower, and Nagia just decided to run at him because he's like, I am Cho'Gath. What are you going to do about it? Does end up getting out, thankfully, as there wasn't a second person to follow up. The turret doesn't go down either. But Style has been given some free reign in this game to do more than I would have ever thought Azeri capable of. As Kadi going to get auto-attacked to death. Nothing to talk about there. They're going to break mid-tower with Rift Herald easy enough. Funny little interaction there. You canceled the Q dash with the activation of the Rift Herald. As you can say, it was Killer Queen stopping in place there for a second as soon as the Q was done. They do trade mid tower for top tower, which means that, again, Style collects yet another big win condition for the squad. Maybe that's the play. Maybe GAM's just like, hey, if we just juice up Style enough, it's not going to matter how good the Team Wales is playing in this game. They're just going to lose anyways. An ultimate gets popped. Kennen pops the ultimate as well. Kiaya has not been having a fun game today, just getting bullied by everybody around him as much as possible. Levi's going to deny Killer Queen access from anything else, and he's going to buy it back for his top laner, or his two bot laners up on the top side. But it should be that's a dragon and a tower. Like, Wales, what?
Yeah, they're just running this game. GAM is looking completely out of sorts, and I feel like we have to criticize their draft again. We haven't seen this Veigar early pick working too well, even though the win rate in the VCS in general is quite good. I think it's mostly through counter picks and late picks, where it punishes the whole composition. Today is just a really good day to study how to punish Veigar. I feel like both teams so far today have really shown us if you early gank the Veigar and if you try to shut him out of the game, he can't really escape. He's a very immobile champion, and you can counterplay, you can circumvent his cage, especially the arm, the frames where it's not armed yet, and they're making use of that over and over again. 1 and 4 now on Kati. And another champion that's not working out so far is that Nocturne. Levi might be famous for the Nocturne, but Nocturne is not in the greatest states of he has ever been in, and all the Nocturnes we've seen in the VCS have kind of looked completely like toothless, or almost like no impact whatsoever. Ultimate looking kind of useless. Yes, he got the kill in the top lane, but that was just chasing down a straggler that forgot to recall. So I need to see more of this Nocturne.
Okay, quick little ask. Levi currently has a Spectre's Cowl, which builds into exactly 2 items. I don't know that I have ever seen a Nocturne with Abyssal Mask or Spirit Visage before in my entire existence, especially not anywhere recently. Why in the world? I guess maybe the Abyssal Mask, but then he built a belt, which builds into Spirit Visage, right? Like, that's...
No, I don't think so. I think Spirit Visage
No,
is
it doesn't build into either, actually. Yeah, because the one builds out of Catalyst and the other one builds out of a Kindle Gem.
Yeah, I think this is just gonna be, he's gonna stay on this item because Spectre's Skull is quite good in skirmishes, right? Because you get the kind of Doran Shield passive on it. So I think he's just gonna build something else now and just have the Spectre's Skull against all the magic damage in the enemy team, especially considering they are cutting your magic resistance down with Nagia there, right? So I don't actually hate the buy. It's gonna put him even further behind the actual item curve, though, and this Nocturne is not going Assassin anyway, so this is just going to be a glorified engage bot.
Oh, okay. Nothing crazy. See, I thought it was going to be an Abyssal buy, like, as soon as possible, because then you have Kennen and you have Veigar, so you're doing the same thing that the Abyssal Mask is doing for Nagia, but the difference is you're doing it for divers, and Nocturne's the perfect setup for it, because he's going to be in the middle of the team with a Stride Breaker anyway, to set up for the Kennen engage. But who am I to say? Again, I don't know why you would have stopped at a Giant's Belt if that's the case. I would have thought you would just go right for the full buy of the Abyssal Mask. But I'm not the one playing in the game, so I'll let Levi be more than anything else. Do note, Navori is done for style. Matches the itemization of Vit. Nothing crazy here. I'm still baffled more than anything else that with all the success that Wales has had, especially with neutral objectives and everything else kind of pulled together, they're only up about 1,000 gold right now. I would have thought that this lead would have been massive comparatively. They are pushed off this tower, assuming that there were going to be more members showing up nearby, as Nocturne, I think, is the big thing. You turn off the lights, you get all your members collapsing there. Oh, actually, what are we doing? Into the jungle immediately. Zin is going to get destroyed. as there's nothing else. Levi turns off the lights to try to find something. Vit versus Style on the side. Now Vit's going to get jumped on by Levi.
Vit is
Flash
smurfing!
to get him a kill is going to be able to actually get brought down by Levi, but not before he gets the 1-for-1 here. Levi now stuck in no man's land as he is absolutely nowhere to go. He's going to get run down by Vi. Vi is going to be able to keep him in place, and a kill gifted over to Glory as Team Wales, again, beating out GAM in the massive team fights because of overstepping. It's always Kiaya that got stepped out right there. Levi and Sin, what are you doing? You're just walking into Blind River.
Yeah, and I feel like it all comes down to how Team Wales is not actually putting too much respect on the names of GAM's players, or I should say rather they're not overly cautious playing against GAM. They're just saying, okay, if you want to beat us, we are going to skirmish you. You might be 9-0, but we still have to out team fight us, and at the moment it's firmly Team Wales. But this is a scary situation.
Slicing Maelstrom's available in the pit. Zin jumps in. That's Kiaya who drops the ultimate. He's going to be able to get a large amount of damage on a couple of people. Gets an execute.
Oh, Nagia!
Mikati finding that one. Now Nagia on the other side kills Kiaya. Now he's stuck.
It's so low.
Styles here to help clean up the remainder of the fight. And that is going to be Style finding one. Now, the Baron is, like you said, 1,700 gold. All lights get turned off by Levi. He's just going to run directly at the Baron. And he's probably just going to smite it down. And for every bit of all of the successes that Wales have, somehow GAM finds the rebound play on the Baron buff, and they get control of the game right back.
Oh, they just gifted them the biggest belated birthday present to Hankei ever. After what was such a dominant fighting and skirmishing game for Wales, they completely lose their minds on the objective play. Look at this from Vit again. Vit played the fight so insanely well. 1v2 against Levi and Style. Flash to get the damage on the ultimate, then executing him. Even stunning Levi, so he's forced to flash instantly. It was so well executed from Vit. We rarely ever, especially I, rarely ever praise Vit, but that was just amazingly played. Now Wales. They do have Cho'Gath ult, they do have Smite. Can they get the soul?
I don't know that they're going to be able to here, which I think was the biggest fumble. They might be looking for the fight afterwards. No, they're not going to be able to grab it. They're not going to be able to get in. Style now is actually hunting after Killer Queen. I think this was the fumble that peeves me the most about what happened here. They're not done, actually. I'm going to wait for a second as Team Wales tries to find the engage. In through the Event Horizon goes the Vi, and they're going to be able to find the immediate execute on Akati, like you said. Style pops the ultimate, is here to try to get something done, and he's actually kiting out really effectively. Now Levi and Kiaya pair together. They're going to go into Dap line.
No
they're gonna
way.
For Style to just kind of auto through every single member of the team. Vit is super low, and that is Levi winning the fight on the front end, putting so much damage in. Style still able to work front to back. That's a triple kill, I believe, for Style, as he was putting in damage with the ultimate, getting work done on Team Wales as GAM pulls the game back.
They can't keep getting away with it. It's so insane. They got outplayed for 20 minutes straight, and then just they get into the next gear and just destroy the team fight. I think Nagia shouldn't have ulted Kati here, because Kati's already in such a horrible position. You can kill him so easily with just the damage from Vit. And Kati, instead, now Nagia is kind of just sitting around there. He's a big tank, but he's not doing anything, and he doesn't have the threat now on Style. So Style gets to do whatever he wants. Finally, a defensive cannon ult for the first time on the whole day, and you see how potent it is at completely dislodging the enemy team in this team fight, and Style just gets to pull on the shoes and run around the back of the fight. Triple kill now for Style. He's close to a third item, and suddenly, out of nowhere, GAM in a 4K gold lead.
Back when this was like the first initial iteration of this roster, when Style got added, I think you and Carrix were really kind of hesitant to be like, oh yeah, Style's going to be a good addition. You thought the other like ADC was going to start. And ever since Style has been here, this has been the one key thing that Style has added to the roster more than anything else, is that he has like the Artemis effect of, if everything else is going wrong, you can rely that Style might win you team fights at the end of the game. And to be quite honest, if they didn't have that, this might be a very different game for GAM. So Style picking up the pieces. I know everybody had great moments right there. I think Levi's diving in the backline did so much damage to Vit that it was probably a one fight anyway. But the fact that they can rely on Style like this really is an avenue and a gear that GAM didn't have for a lot of years that they picked up over the last 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating player to talk about, because he's not as flashy as the likes of Shogun and Artemis. He's not as lane dominant, and even not quite as strong a hyper carry, but he's still has very good hands. His team fighting is amazing, and his flexibility is what really sets him apart as the mage player. So I would argue you still have to put Artemis and Shogun ahead of him in overall performance, especially when you look at the laning phase, which Style is really not that amazing at.
Yeah.
But Style is such a good late game carry player, and he is kind of the ADC you would hope for this kind of team, where your main carries sit in top and jungle. So when do you rely on your ADC? In late game team fights. And there he is, reckless Style, just picking up all the kills, never dying, positioning perfectly, and that is Style's role in this team.
Oh, big jump in. That's Levi, who's going to be looking for the Cho'Gath more than anybody else, and then into the back line.
So tanky.
Zin. Great play from Vid is going to call the counterplay. Now Styles going to get ulted up by this Kiaya with a huge ult. Go through the rest of the team, as that was a big pick potential, but Style doesn't even go down. Kiaya just saved everything, and the push now into the bottom side. Vid has enough health to be able to get out without too much problem. Kai's going to run out. I'm not going to be able to find him with the event horizon. But what a play from GAM. It looked like it was disaster about to happen. The Team Wales was going to strike back, and the cannon ruins everything.
And again, it's the defensive cannon ultimate, not the aggressive ones that actually win the team fight, because you do have the hyper carry behind you. You do have the Veigar. If you go too far forward, as we saw in the series number 1, your team can't follow up. So the defensive cannon ult is so much more potent, especially into all the divers of Wales. How can they ever get to Style? They were so close to actually killing him, but then cannon came in, stunned everyone, and Style was able to once again reel off all the damage in his arsenal. And it just looks so hard to play the game for Wales. They have 3 melee champs, 4 melee champs that need to get on top of the enemy ADC. He is slippery himself, and then there's all that peel for him.
Absolutely. It's insane to think about. I want to take you back in a time machine really quick. I might wait for a second because it looks like we might be posturing for a bit of a fight. Both teams in mid lane. TP is going to be there. Yeah, we were a bit low on the camera. As you can see, 2 members were actually here in the back line as Levi tries to use the ultimate to get into something. As it's Zin going down. The ultimate from the Cho'Gath was able to pick it up. The wave's going to be cleared a little bit, but they're going to be okay. Team Wales actually gets away with a kill after the engage. Does not quite stick the way that they wanted it to. Probably have to give up the dragon, but they're okay with that because they get to live to fight another day.
The dragon is in their eyes. They still are thinking about it, but they really can't enter the bot side river. And they have to give it up. Okay, it's not that big of a deal for the enemy team, right? You are... it's hurting you because you know it's going to be the Ocean Soul. Think about Ocean Soul on Gragas and on Cho'Gath. It would be so nice. But you're not really losing anything in terms of current strength, because second Ocean Dragon really doesn't do anything for GAM. So unless you lose all 4 Ocean Dragons, you do have a little bit of time to scale. Look at the items coming in. Team Wales is getting tankier and tankier, and that carry and Vid is also getting stronger. Maybe not quite as strong a team fight as Style is, but Xayah on this patch, a very, very strong champion of 3 items.
Okay.
Oh!
Wait, what a pick on a Levi. Is going to be able to grab it. He does not even come close to getting executed. His Ki is able to drop a bunch of damage into the 2 members they were using to pick. That's an execute onto Vit immediately. That's an execute onto Killer Queen. And even Glory gonna go down. Team Wales thought they were getting cute, thought they were getting crafty right there, but they do not have the damage to make it work. Levi's too damn tanky, and now they just run up mid lane. Like, bottom lane's going to get pushed up by these minions. They could meet those inside the base after taking the middle inhibitor. Worst case scenario, you take down mid and bot inhibitor, go out, grab the Baron buff, and then you wait for the next kind of big push, and that's all you need to do. If they don't just win right here and right now, your way, GAM turn this game around out of nowhere. How do they keep... year in and year out, this is just always the way that GAM wins games, and it's so not cool. I swear after enough time, somebody's got to check them, because it's ridiculous how often that they can make this happen. One mistake coming out from Team Wales made the difference in this game.
And I think the most remarkable part about these comebacks from GAM that happen so consistently is that the rest of the VCSs level up their early game. Some of the teams have really good players. They can stand up to... Oh, we might have a close one. Very nice from Zin, defending against Killer Queen there. But yeah, the other teams have actually gotten better. The players are there to contest them, some of them, like Shogun, like Artemis, like some of the players in this game, Nagia, Killer Queen, Glory. But the macro and the team fighting is still superior, and GAM now finally really the #1 team fighting team. This is just not the greatest call. It's nice to land a hook, but you're 3v5 there. They get collapsed on instantly, and Vid just turned up. Their main tank is not in the fight. Vid just evaporates against Kati, and the fight is lost from the first second they started it.
It looked to me like they did not think anyone was with Levi.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Levi's here on his own. And then like all 5 of them are there. And they're like, well, like what are you to do? GG, go next. Like what's to happen? Like I said, I want to take you back in a time machine to 20 minutes into this game where Team Wales was winning by a couple thousand gold and they made the Baron call, right? If they don't make that Baron call and then they buy items, they redeploy into mid and bot, they push out those waves, and then they walk into Dragon and walk away with an Ocean Soul, Team Wales probably wins this game. Like 99% of the time. That one over-aggressive call that gets punished because of the short death timers and the instant redeploy, the TP coming out from GAM, was literally the only massive mistake they made up until 20 minutes. And since then, they've been floundering because I think they've over-assumed how much damage they got, how much pick potential they've got. They've just overplayed their hand too much since then. But that was all that it took. One different choice in the macro game is all that Wales needed to really cement this one and give themselves a great shot. And instead, it's GAM knocking on the door to their base.
Yeah, and it's GAM just being better in every macro decision on average. So it just, after a while, after some minutes, it just averages out to their advantage almost any game they play. And at least in every series they play. They're 60% more likely. And
Style gets jumped on immediately by
way too far away.
He almost gets immediately killed as Levi goes jumping into the opposite side of this one. They're fighting on 2 different fronts. As Style is going to be able to bring down the Vi. Yeah, Levi goes into Zonius. He's not going to even come close to dying to Vit as Vit tries to jump in with the Gale Force. And there's still staggering minions around on these Nexus towers. There is nothing to be done. You're going to try to fight, but they can just blitz down the Nexus as much as they want. Kadi drops a little bit of damage. It's just not going to matter. Ki is going to keep them pushed off. And GAM, it looked like they were threatened. They were not. 31.